Let's start with the easy ones and slowly work our way up to the ones that should probably get Child Protective Services involved. Number 10. The cuckoo. Most parents at least attempt to raise their own kids. The cuckoo looked at that responsibility and decided it simply wasn't for her. A female cuckoo will sneak into another bird's nest, usually while the owner is out getting food, and lay a single egg among the host's own eggs in a matter of seconds. The cuckoo egg is often color matched to blend in, so the unsuspecting host doesn't notice she's now babysitting a stranger's kid. But here's where it gets genuinely dark. Once the cuckoo chick hatches, often before the host's own eggs do, it instinctively backs itself up against the other eggs, wedges them onto its back, and physically shoves them out of the nest one by one. The host bird then spends weeks exhausting herself, feeding this one enormous, demanding chick that isn't even hers, sometimes growing several times her own size, seemingly never questioning why her baby looks nothing like her, and is also eating her out of house and home. Number 9. The emperor penguin. Once the mother lays her single egg, she immediately leaves, not out of neglect, but because she's physically depleted and needs to trek up to 50 miles across the ice to reach the ocean and feed. That leaves Dad holding the egg, literally, balanced on top of his feet and tucked under a warm fold of skin called a brood pouch for around 2 months straight, through temperatures that can drop below -40 degrees and winds strong enough to knock a person over. He does not eat this entire time. He loses roughly half his body weight. He huddles together with thousands of other fathers in a slowly shifting mass just to survive the cold, all of them rotating positions so nobody's stuck on the freezing outer edge for too long. And the second that egg hatches, before he's even eaten a single meal, he has to start regurgitating a stored substance from his esophagus just to feed the chick until mom finally makes it back. Number 8. The Suriname toad. This one sounds like it shouldn't be biologically legal. During mating, the male fertilizes the eggs and then presses them directly into the skin on the female's back. Her skin then swells up and grows completely over each individual egg, forming a honeycomb pattern of little pockets embedded directly into her flesh. The eggs develop right there, under her skin, for months, and when they're finally ready, fully formed baby toads don't hatch out of some external nest. They burst directly out of pockets in their mother's back and swim away, leaving behind a mother who now looks like she survived a horror movie, just calmly sitting there afterward like nothing happened. Number 7. The giant Pacific octopus. An octopus mother lays somewhere between 50 and 100,000 eggs in a single clutch, and once she does, her entire life becomes guarding them. She stops eating completely. For up to 6 months, sometimes longer, she stays in her den, gently blowing water over the eggs to keep them oxygenated and picking off anything that looks like fungus or debris, never leaving, never eating, slowly starving the entire time. By the time the eggs finally hatch, she is so weakened that she dies shortly afterward, sometimes within days. She never meets her children as anything other than eggs. Her entire purpose for the last half year of her life was making sure they got the chance to exist without her. Number 6. The poison dart frog. Once the eggs hatch into tadpoles, the father doesn't just walk away and hope for the best. He carries each individual tadpole up onto his own back, one at a time, and hikes them through the rainforest to a separate tiny pool of water, usually collected inside a bromeliad plant or a fallen leaf. He does this repeatedly, tadpole by tadpole, dropping each one into its own private pool, specifically so they don't eat each other, because dart frog tadpoles will absolutely cannibalize their siblings if given the chance. In some species, the mother even returns periodically to lay unfertilized eggs directly into each pool just to feed that one specific tadpole, meaning this frog is essentially running a real estate operation and a meal delivery service simultaneously just to keep her kids from murdering each other. Number 5. The burying beetle. This beetle's version of meal prep starts with finding a dead animal, usually a mouse or a small bird, and burying it completely underground. Both parents then strip the fur or feathers off the corpse, coat it in antimicrobial secretions to stop it from rotting too fast, and shape it into a ball. When the larvae hatch, they don't just chew into the carcass themselves. They tap on their parents' mouths, and the parents respond by regurgitating pre-digested meat directly into each larva's mouth, essentially hand feeding, or mouth feeding their children using a dead animal as the world's least appetizing buffet table. If a parent dies partway through, the surviving one just takes over the entire feeding operation alone. Number 4. The earwig. Insects are not exactly known for being attentive parents, and yet the earwig completely breaks that pattern. A mother earwig lays her eggs in an underground chamber and then does something almost no other insect bothers to do. She stays, she guards the eggs from predators, and she constantly licks and cleans them to stop fungal spores from growing on the shells, sometimes rearranging them by mouth to make sure every single egg gets equal exposure to the cleaning. If mold does start to grow anyway, she'll actually eat the affected eggs to stop it from spreading to the healthy ones. Once they hatch, she keeps guarding the nymphs and even regurgitates food for them in their first few days, which for an insect is basically the parenting equivalent of running yourself ragged. Number 3. The Australian spadefoot toad. When the desert pools these tadpoles are born in to start drying up fast, evolution apparently decided the fair thing to do was let the kids sort it out themselves. Some spadefoot tadpoles, when food gets scarce and the water is disappearing, develop unusually large heads and powerful jaws almost overnight and start eating their own siblings to survive. The parents are long gone by this point, having laid the eggs and left, so there's no adult supervision whatsoever. It's just a shrinking puddle, a countdown clock, and a group of siblings quietly turning into a horror movie until only the strongest tadpoles make it to the next stage of life. Number 2. The wolf spider. Once her eggs hatch, a wolf spider mother doesn't build a nest or leave them somewhere safe. She just lets every single spiderling climb directly onto her back and ride around with her, sometimes numbering in the hundreds, clinging on in a squirming mass while she goes about her normal hunting routine. She carries them like this for roughly a week or two, and during that time she doesn't feed them. They simply live off their own yolk reserves while using her as transportation and protection. If you've ever seen a photo of a spider that looks like it's covered in a moving fur coat, that's not fur. That's several hundred children. Number 1. The spotted hyena. Hyena mothers give birth through an unusually narrow, elongated canal, a process so difficult that a significant number of first-time mothers don't survive it, and many cubs are stillborn simply from the birth itself being that physically brutal. But surviving birth isn't even the biggest hurdle. Hyena cubs are born with their eyes open and their teeth already fully functional, and in litters with 2 cubs of the same sex, they will often start fighting each other within hours of being born, sometimes to the death, competing immediately for dominance and access to their mother's milk. There's no gentle introduction to sibling rivalry here. It starts on day 1, teeth first, and the mother largely just lets it happen, because in hyena society, figuring out who's in charge apparently can't wait.